Jonathan Schanzer is the Vice President of the Research at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. He joins us now from Washington. Jonathan, let's talk about this detention and what kind of information it could provide authorities.
Well, we don't know exactly what this wife knows or what the child knows, but I think probably the first question on everyone's mind here is whether Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was injured severely in the recent strike by Allied air forces against him, or whether this was a minor injury that he will recover from very quickly. We don't know much about what has happened to him, and there's been something of a media blackout. The only thing that was released was an audio recording, so we had no idea what kind of injuries were sustained. This could be incredibly important for future leadership of this very dangerous terrorist organization.
Is it unusual that his wife, and we know he has more than one wife, or that has been reported, is it unusual for her to be traveling alone with the child and not with him?
Well, I wouldn't expect him to go traveling across into Lebanon where Sunni forces could be lying in wait. I think the question is, what was she doing in Lebanon? Was she trying to procure cash? Was she trying to procure weapons? Was she trying to get a doctor to come to see him across the border in Syria? These are all questions that I don't think we have any answers to right now, but it'll be very interesting to find out whether there are going to be allied intelligence services who can get in there, such as the United States or some of its allies like Canada or the UK, or whether this is going to be left into the hands of Lebanese intelligence, where I think I would have a lot less confidence.
I was going to ask you, where does Lebanon fit in as far as being a country that has now detained these two people?
Well, on the one hand, the Lebanese are not terribly trustworthy. They've got Hezbollah as a part of their government, and so that makes them much less reliable. On the other hand, Hezbollah is part of the Iranian axis, and the Iranians are part of the fight, whether we like it or not, against ISIS. They are opposed to ISIS. And so it could be that they'd be willing to share information. We just don't know. But again, it's just so very murky there right now. I don't know if I would trust the intelligence that would be coming out of there alone. I would certainly want to verify it.
We've heard of American hostages, obviously, in that part of the world. Could there be a hostage exchange happening or planned?
I think there would be, but I think that what we're talking about are hostages that would be Hezbollah hostages, or perhaps Iranian or Syrian regime hostages in exchange for Baghdadi. I can't imagine that the United States would get that kind of leverage to be able to negotiate for Western hostages. It's possible, but I think very unlikely.
All right, so how big of a deal is it that they do have these two in custody?
Well, look, we finally have some leverage over Baghdadi. Now, the question is, does he see the lives of his wife and son as expendable? Does he see his broader mission for the Islamic State as something that would supersede whatever allegiances he has to his family? I mean, these are things that we just don't know. But I do think it's important that we do, at this point, seem to have some personal leverage over the man who is seen as one of the most dangerous terrorists in the world.
All right, Jonathan Schanzer, thanks for joining us today.